Alrighty, let's try take 2 with this. Maybe take 3, I think, with how many streams we've tried to start, and you guys have got a black screen from it. Hopefully that is not the same this time. But, as we said before, and we'll say it once again, welcome back to China. It's been 2 seasons since we last ran here, and Jack Miles, championship leader and league owner, could win the title tonight. I'm Ryan Searles. He is RSF1 Invade. He won the Tier 2 race here the first time we ran at the circuit. And now it's time to get into Q1 for the session and see what the weather looks like as well. But for that, we have to mention our Tier 3 and Tier 2 winner yesterday and give them a little congratulations. Tier 3 winner on Thursday, congratulations to AJ on his debut. And congratulations to yesterday's Tier 2 winner, Mintoki. Could see Mercedes win all 3 races this weekend if they get a little lucky. Might need a little bit of luck on their side with that being said, but dry session, it seems, in Q1, and I've not heard any drivers mention anything about rain. Hopefully they could tell us if there is. But although the drivers are going out on track, and we have 14 in here, that does mean we could be going to short quali, as you said. It is short quali, thank you. They did change it last moment. But yes,
I don't know if
Invade, make sure your audio is included. But good to have you.
It should be.
It is included, yep. Good to have you.
Yeah.
We're going to start on board, though, with Ian Maxwell Gio's got a lot of traffic in the way. Look at this, the Red Bull is in the way. That is either George or Egg. On the inside, the Mercedes gets out the way. That's Cookie,
George.
But that was George and Cookie getting in Maxwell's way. I don't think Maxwell's backed off yet, but that was catastrophic for the Sauber driver. Now, riding on board with Maxwell through turn 7 and turn 8. We're going to take you off the tires since every single driver here in this session should be on the soft compound, considering it is short qualifying. Little lockup for turn 9 and turn 10. This section is very tricky with the curbs. You want to be very careful how you get on the power exiting these corners, and also not getting stuck on those curbs as well is going to be a big factor tonight. Purple sector 2, he's the only one to go through it on a lap. Now this right-hander is super tricky. Look at the loss of traction. Maxwell saves it, but that could have been a session-ending moment for Maxwell, where Invade, we've seen numerous drivers lose it there in the past, and it's not going to change this time around.
Definitely, and luckily enough, he did not spin out this time around, and he can continue around with his banker.
Willow on a lap, and down the main straight, he was using the esports line we saw used at Bahrain earlier this season. All the way down, right next to the inside wall. Little slide out of turn 3, but as we mentioned it, we will see drivers have loss of traction in certain corners in tonight's race. 23.8 for Willow. He will not be the first one to set a lap, but we do want to keep an eye on him. Remember, it's only 4th or 5th start for Willow, and we spoke about the possibility of Mercedes sweeping the weekend with AJ and, oh, big slide. AJ and Mintoki already winning. If Willow wants to win, he needs to avoid moments like that happening again. Overtake button unused momentarily.
Cypher to line. Cypher's going to be the first one to set a lap for us, and it's a 30.00, basically flat.
We'll see more coming. The Haas of Alex Norris. Remember, he's in the Haas tonight because of certain drivers missing. A lot of drivers missing tonight. Only 14 on our grid right now. I think our next one across will be a McLaren. Jack, the second one, slots in behind TB. We'll see where the Red Bull is. Egg second. Egg really loves this circuit. We'll see if he does love it at the end of this race tonight. Willow will be, I believe, either the 6th or 7th driver to cross the line. Overtake on use. He had a lot of battery use down the back straight, and our Mercedes benchmark is 5th fastest. Next is Cryptic. Cryptic is 4th. And we'll go to the RB now. If H is our Gecko. Gecko crossing, and he is slowest of them all. We have George Williams we're looking at. Yes, and you know what? This race in Tier 3, when we were here for the first season Invade, he wasn't as good as anticipated.
No, he finished about 11 seconds off the leader.
And George is slowest right now.
Battle for second the whole race.
We're looking at 2 more to cross, Redfire and NRM-KVS. NRM-KVS a little better on the battery than Redfire. Both deployment use crossing. KVS second, Redfire 11th.
Wow.
Right now, a Ferrari 1-2, but KVS was fastest in the final sector.
Goat league's invalidated.
Although George didn't win the Tier 3 race here in Invade, it has to be said it was a Tier 2 race here that he got pole in and won.
And he had that race-long battle with Polo last season.
Very true. I don't see anybody on a lap right now, but on our first runs, both McLarens sit back in 4th and 6th right now. Red Bull sit 3rd and 12th. Cryptic, the only Aston right now tonight. Missing Ding, 5th place there. And Ferrari, with KVS and Skither, sit 1-2. Well, let's tell you about some of the lineups. Leo Lund was supposed to be in the Haas. He's not, so that's why Goatley and Alex Norris are there. Same with Minico. He's not here. We don't have a second Sauber. We don't have a second Williams. We don't have a second V-Carb. That second V-Carb would be Danny. Like I said, we don't have Ding. And I think that's about it. Besides that, we probably are missing a team. We're missing Alpine. Shorts and JTK would have been here. And let's talk about the Tier 2 Prodigy for a moment while we brought on board with Maxwell. It must be said, Invade, he used to be your driver. And Shorts going from Tier 3 to Tier 2 to Tier 1. I think he probably, at least this game cycle he is. He's the first driver to move up from Tier 3 to Tier 2 to Tier 1. Or move up tiers, I should say, without winning a race. Now, he's not here tonight, but if he were here, where would you expect him to be with the kid who has a lot of one lap pace?
I'd expect him to be around where Gecko and Alex Norris is in the Alpine.
I would agree slightly.
Yeah.
I would say probably right around where Gecko and Redfire are. But his one lap pace is better than his race pace, so you could be right, for all we know. JTK and Andrea were the two backed out. Shorts was supposed to be in the lineup too, but Andrea backed out earlier today. JTK had bad timing because of very late dinner, so Titan gives us a little update there. Maxwell, he'll be the last car to cross the line of the drivers who have not invalidated laps. Maxwell half spun, this time all clean and green, and in the green machine, where is he going to slot it in? He is slowest of them all. But, you know what? Invade with a smaller field. Oh, George passing Cryptic out of the pit lane. Interesting there. With a smaller field, Invade, Maxwell really could be on for some points. And this would be his first since Monza last season if he were to do it.
Definitely. And the Sauber team will be looking for more points added to their season with the little points haul they actually have at the moment.
Alex Norris being one of the drivers who scored for Sauber, by the way. He's in this race tonight. Speaking of the other Academy car, Willow scored for Haas. But yeah, George and Cryptic really got those elbows out of the pit lane. George was not waiting around, even though Cryptic kind of stalled it coming out of the pits. Fellas, we
looks
have...
like Alex is going to be the first one to set a second lap.
And we'll go on board with him whenever he does get there. I was just going to say, fellas, we have 8.5 minutes remaining in this session. If you want to leave any early predictions out there, go ahead and do so. But Invade, a China trend that continues is the fact that we have short qualifying back-to-back times we've raced here, Season 10 and Season 12. So no surprise there. It was Cookie, the dominant driver that season, who got pole, crashed out from pole after he got it. We'll see if Skither, who's been in good form recently, can do the same. Alex Norris coming out of turn 4. That S section, I guess you could say the snail section in a better worded manner. A very slow section and very tough in some of these cars. It's going to be interesting to see who lines up where. But Alex Norris is finding the time. He is responding to his first go. Running on board with the driver going through turn 7 and turn 8. I feel like with this section, you do not want to touch the curb, but you want to be right next to it. Alex was a little bit vulnerable in terms of where he was at. Little lockup at turn 9. All's okay there. Maybe missed the apex just a little, but we should be seeing improvement from our Tier 2 pole sitter with this car last season, and he's a 10th and a half up. If he does find the time he's currently finding, this would split him with the Mercedes pair, and this is a good run right now and a good effort from Alex. He just got the back straight to go to the next braking zone, and we'll find out from there what things are like. DRS applied from the Haas driver. And like we said, Tier 2 pole sitter with this car. Yes, that happened in a session at Brazil. And also, he won a lot of Tier 3 races. This was a track he was on pole at in Tier 3, but didn't win here. He had made a good comeback, but didn't win. Inside curb, probably the only place you couldn't validate. Kept it clean there, and he does find time. He splits both Mercedes drivers. A really good effort from Alex Norris. We have more to come. We're going to look at TB first.
Alex Norris actually had his birthday yesterday, so he's racing. He's racing after his birthday, and he's putting in a performance. While Jack, wow,
there's a lot of times that changed. Egg went third. It was second previously. Skither down to second because Jack Miles goes on pole and could get his first pole of the season. Right now, as things stand, he's the only could-be champion without a pole in Tier 1 in their championship season. We have times improving as well from both Mercedes. They do find the time over Alex Norris on their second go. Skither right now is on a lap, and we're going to see what the American driver can do. Just recently, he took the pole record in Invade, and I'm sure he's not done with it.
Oh, he definitely wants to extend this pole record. With the mighty form he's on right now, I'm sure he's definitely going to be within the shout for pole, and he probably expects himself to be on that front row.
Goatley does get a time in, so we do have all 14 drivers getting a time clocked in, but just remember, we need representable laps to really compare, and Goatley does not have that right now. But we could have a representable lap now on second goes, is with Skither crossing the line. KVS found time. He is within a tenth of Jack Miles. Skither crossing the line with the battery on use, and he goes back to pole. A 10th gap between him and Jack Miles. Skither responds with a 29.8. The question now is going to become, how faster can we go? Cryptic, by the way, he split both Mercedes not too long ago. He found time. And both Mercedes, by the way, Willow and Cookie, less than 5/10 off of current pole man, Skither.
Wow, it's very close within the top 10. Well,
Jack, to win the World Drivers' Championship, he must outscore TB by 4 points to claim it. Although you see the championship gap at 75 points, the reason why it's set at 4 points is because if we have Jack outscore TB by 3, the potential for a tie is still there, where TB could win out on a tiebreaker. We have Red Fire crossing the line, and he'll come back into the pit lane. I was going to say with Red Fire's case, his Q3 appearances in Williams this season have been non-existent. If you go back to last season, though, he had some. Goatley does have a representable time on the board. It's still the slowest time, though, but not for off Academy teammate, Aaron Maxwell G. And I really would be interested in Invade to see where Leo Lund would be, because he would be making his Tier 1 return here tonight in the Haas, signed to that car. But at the same time, we'll just have to wait another day to see that. I'm sure he'd be ahead of Alex Norris, but where would he be would become the question. Similar to Shorts, but we'll have to wait another one for that go.
Yeah, hopefully we can see them both next week on track.
Now, I want to know, you didn't get pole here when you won your Tier 3 race here, but what were you thinking on your final run? Because you knew the championship was practically over, so this race was the first race after it. It was kind of fun for you. I guess TB's hopes are just about over, and others' hopes behind that are over, but they still have a lot to fight for, and you did too. So what were you thinking in this Tier 3 race you had here on your last run for qualifying?
I was just thinking, qualify as high up as possible, put myself in a decent chance to win, and just have fun with it. Just not overthink it as much, and the result will come. And the result did come. Obviously, championship is over, but you still want to claim that second place to prove that you have been there that whole season. And yeah, exactly that.
And for the longest time, it also was the largest win margin in Tier 3.
It was.
Dang Alex Norris.
Yeah, exactly. Dang Alex Norris.
Seems like we have a queue forming between both Red Bulls. We have our final runs starting Let us know in the Twitch chat for the 70 watching
Oh,
who you think will take pole position.
Jack
Jack Mountains calls
retired.
quits. That's interesting. He does not think he'll have another go at things. Maybe saving a pair of tires for the race, potentially. So, here we go. Both Red Bulls towing each other along. Egg starts this one. George behind him. Let's look at the battery management as we end Sector 1 when we get there. But let's see the lines this driver is taking. Does he diamond the corner here at the second part of the snail? Yes, he does. He goes wide and then goes far into the corner to set up his entry and exit. That Sauber almost did not get out of the way. That was Maxwell. But the next car in front of that is the Mercedes. The problem with the last run is the traffic you have. Egg is not finding the time right now and went off the road. So this last run, he can put in the bin. But at this point, he just needs to get George a good lap in here and actually tow him along. The dirty air will have an effect here, but down that back straight, that momentum the Red Bull of George will have will be monstrous if Egg still stays in front here. We do have more traffic, but George needs the lap badly. Is he finding time? He's finding 2.5 tenths. George is not finding a lot at all. It's going to have to come in the final sector. V-carb of Gecko, too used to Goatley being in that car, gets out of the way. Now, George not using a lot of overtake down this straight because Egg is towing him along. I'm sure Egg will pull all the way now. He could recharge here and do another run if he wanted to. But as George is approaching the traffic, he will have that tow in hand that he got in order to prove that he can improve on the lap. One more corner to navigate for George up Williams. Crossing the line now. DRS applied, and George to the line. George found more time than anticipated. George 9th, and Egg goes to the pit lane to retire. His last go was in the bin already, and he said, no other run for me. Cryptic's finding time in the first sector. TB found time in the first sector as well. KVS,
purple middle.
There you go. Purple in the middle sector, and that could get him pole if he finds time in the final sector. Skither's not finding the time. He's responding by not finding time in the first sector. He's going to have a Cookie Japan type of lap from Season 10 in order to get pole back if it gets stolen. NRM KVS has been in the front row once in the past. And at a track that suits the pad drivers, could the pad driver steal it from his wheel driver teammate? One more corner to go, but a big slide. KVS crossing, and KVS is only third. TB crossing, and TB is fourth, limiting the damage in the championship and the qualifying order. We have Willow up 2 tenths. Cryptic crossed the second sector already. So did Cookie. Now, did Skither find time? He is finding time, so he'll cross the line. Currently being up in the second sector, Cryptic found time. He's 5th!
Mega effort from Cryptic. And look at the slipstream Cookie's getting. It's insane.
Can Cookie get in another front row? Skither, can he find more time to improve the lap? Yes, he can! 29.7, and just as I called it, Cookie onto the front row. Skither and Cookie share yet another front row, and Cookie comes up second fiddle once again. Gecko goes 10th. Maxwell found time, but no places with it. Alex Norris invalidates at the final corner, but did he find time? If he were to get the lap, and yes, he would have been ahead of Gecko. Goldley, our last one across, but Skither is going to get pole once again. And for Skither, it is back-to-back poles. It is his 3rd pole of the season. And all time, that is Skither's 27th pole. At the end, Goatley did find time and did find some places. Skither has never won in China and has never had a pole. One of those things change right now. Look at the gap here from 2nd to 7th.
Wow.
Under a 10th. Cookie is 2nd. Jack is 3rd. 3 different teams up there. KVS 4th. Here's your full qualifying order. Gecko's a little farther back there. Both Haas's outside the top 10. Egg down there, did not anticipate that, but his final run, he binned it. So he'll have to go again as we know it and try this for the race, which is overcast. Don't have any drivers streaming, so don't know the weather. We'll probably dry though. I'm pretty sure as well the strat here is also medium hard. I remember our tier 3 race had that, and I believe our tier 2 race had it too. If not, it would be hard soft.
Yeah, I think it will probably be hard. Hard. Well, people will start on hards, and it's either going soft, medium. Well, softs or mediums.
Remember our last race with 14 drivers in it in tier 1? We had Zandvoort Season 10, and that race was full of chaos. I know we don't have as many drivers that are not in backmarker cars like that race, but we do have a lot of chances for chaos. Invade, we had a big collision here in Season 8 on the start. Do we avoid the calamity we've had here in the past?
Uh, Probably just because there's less drivers. That means less chance of chaos to actually happen off the start. But you can never count it out. It's RPL, and I'm sure there'll be a little bit of chaos. Maybe not major.
Well, time to find out. We'll find out now. The 5 red lights ahead of the drivers here for the Chinese Grand Prix. Our return here to the circuit has us lights out now, and away we go. Off the line, Skither gonna go a little defensive on Cookie, but not a lot. Alex Norris trading places with Gecko on the running order. Jack giving Cookie a boot. Now TB going around the outside of teammate Jack. 3 wide. TB has the furthest line on the inside. Jack's boxed in the middle, and he has to push KVS out. TB third. Successful there. Gecko, Red Fire, Goatley, Maxwell, they're trading places further back, and a lot of places trading. Cryptic on the inside of Gecko, you see the strategy there on our screen, but big lockup from the McLaren there. Down at turn 6, DB had to go defensive and make sure he didn't hit the car in front of him, but we're side by side for turn 7. Cryptic had to back out, and he does. You know who's not backing out, though? Alex Norris!
And Cypher's gone different to everyone else in the field.
Oh,
Cypher and
spin!
both passes
Red
are on
Fire
mediums.
dropped it after trying to go side by side. Maxwell's collected 2. TB gained 2 places. No one has lost more than 1 place on our opening lap. But as you said it, Skither went different and he got a monstrous start. Now it's Cookie further behind, just holding up the pack, and they're ready to go. Jack and TB wheel to wheel down the back straight.
Does Jack get close enough to Cookie to send it?
Look at all the moving around and jockeying for position on the straight. We have
KBS
KBS on
down
the
the
inside
side.
of the second McLaren. That's TB now, as Jack got the place and got the pieces there on his teammate. As we said it, further behind, Egg and Cryptic battling. Egg very low on the fuel here. Alex on the back of George. Where do our moves get made to turn 1? We see side-by-side action for a bit, but that's Egg slotting behind KVS. No move made there. We have Alex and George close to comfort there, and now both McLarens wheel to wheel here in the snail section. TB on the inside trying to have a go there at Jack, but he puts it behind the teammate.
And Alex Norris on the outside of George.
These two got feisty at the end of the Tier 2 season when Alex was racing as a reserve. Right now, Alex is racing in the Haas, and he's racing for 9th place. Alex Norris gets ahead.
What a lovely move from Alex Norris. Using those mediums to his advantage to get through the field, and he's now up to 9th.
And Goatley will have to do the same if he wants a chance at points. Luckily, did not get involved in the lap 1 melee there at turn 9. So Goatley does have a chance, but even if he does not have a realistic chance for points, help your teammate out. And we know the undercut here. Maybe he can go for an undercut and try something there. Maybe that's why he went to the mediums with Alex. But now, down the back straight, DRS active. Jack Miles active on the move. To the inside, he gets Cookie. Now Cookie, who's the tail that wags the dog? Here's TB on the inside. Overtake possible. Overtake done. Cookie slides, and he half spins it. Now, was there contact would become the question, but we do know KVS got Egg, so if anybody tapped Cookie, it could have been KVS, and a lot of cars using the escape road.
Yeah, Egg was wide at the last turn there.
So is Cookie, so is George, I believe. Now, TB trying to throw it up the outside and trying to make Jack crumble, but right now that's not happening. Our fastest lap goes to Skither, and the gap in the championship as things stand between these two would be 78 points. It's not enough to decide it today. However, everyone's staying single file down to turn 6. We see our helicopter cam where you see Cookie slide now, And because that malfunction Cookie had, Invade, he's behind the teammate. I know you want to be near your teammate and ahead of your teammate, but considering where Cookie qualified, I don't think you want to be behind Willow right now if you're Cookie.
He's also behind Cryptic, his Academy teammate.
Yeah, so right now that makes Cryptic the highest Merc Academy driver in our field. 3.4 seconds Skither has pulled that gap from our second place man, Jack Miles. Those medium tires... Exactly. Those medium tires have come into effect for him. But it's going to be interesting seeing when that drop-off does come. TB, in DRS range of Jack, in striking distance, down our back straight. Any moves? Let's find out.
KBS defensive.
You saw that right there. KBS went defensive. Egg sends one on TB because of it. 3 wide for a moment. Egg had to back off, and as KBS anticipated it, a switchback was possible, but no success there. Egg, though, although he rammed in a TB, didn't have any damage or anything bad go on there, but he did prevent the overtake then happening with TB and Jack, but it happens now at turn 1. TB through, Jack behind.
Wow, that was around the outside at that turn as well. That was quite nice.
I know, the overtakes you can do at turn 1, you have a lot of chances. Inside line, outside line. Get yourself up, set up for turn 2. There's a lot of opportunistic moves you can make there, but you got to be careful making the moves because you cannot cost yourself time to the cars in front. While that happened, TB brought the gap down on Skither by 2.5 tenths. But again, he's just not on the medium tire. Skither is. So we're going to see how that does play out because, of course, in our second stint, TB and the other runners behind will have the advantage. Wide. But that was Egg wide as you said it. That's a rare mistake there at that corner.
Probably carried too much speed into the turn end, went a little bit wide.
No, surely that's track limits there, unless he backed off enough.
Probably.
We'll find out later on. Cryptic hounding the back of KVS. No move made there. Jack Miles in the slipstream of TB. Breezing by the teammate on lap 4. See the cloud cover. It is getting a little bit sunnier out here in China, but Egg gets KVS while we were talking about the cloud cover. And I'm sure someone who's got a black cloud over his head is Goatley because he knows his chance at staying in this DRS train is very slim, and he's losing touch with the back of Gecko. He's only just in DRS this time. He's so lucky to stay in this train.
Second to 12th still in this train is very impressive.
It's almost like qualifying with how close these guys are. But Jack Miles leading a hungry pack of cars behind him, 4.0 seconds. It seems like that first sector is where Skither does find the time on the McLarens. Not sure if the Ferrari would have an advantage there or if pad driver would, but we know TB's on wheel, Jack on pad, Egg on pad. But 4.2 seconds now. Jack ran his best first sector that time by. And no move made, but all the drivers really much on the tail of the other one in front of them. Here's Cryptic. He's getting eager to get by KVS, but he said, I'll wait there because it would be $1 late and $1 short.
Willow was also having a look in the background.
I don't blame him. It would be the opportunity to do it, but you got to be very careful with your Academy teammates. Goatley has lost touch with Gecko, so an undercut is imminent. TB in striking distance of Jack. No move made there, but we do have Willow trying to get the upper edge on Cryptic on the inside. A little dive bomb move. A mistake there from TB. Allows Egg on the inside, and there was contact for 6 there as we saw it. TB hangs on, and I believe Cryptic hangs on too.
Yeah, Willow ghosted there. He made a little bit of contact with Cryptic, and Corky gets by him now.
So the swap between both Mercedes happens on lap 6 at turn 1. 4.5 seconds. Skither remains in the lead. Jack Miles keeping TB at bay. But as we said, at this DRS train, 2nd to 11th, it's just so tight. I'm very surprised. No one in this DRS train, don't want to jinx it, has not made a mistake and ran on the car in front. In this type of train and scenario, it is so easy to run into your competitor in front. And I'm surprised, Invade, we've not had it happen more in Tier 3, though, because the races aren't as close as Tier 1 in terms of these type of DRS trains, but it just goes to show you how competitive and why they're tier 1 drivers right here in our field.
Definitely so. Yeah, this is why they are in tier 1.
And this is also why they're in the cars they're in too. A
Alex
trade
Norris.
behind. Alex got Willow. I think Willow made a mistake there, and Willow is going to stick it around the outside still. Alex was ghosted inside him, and now it's a drag race down the back straight. Merc straight line speed versus Haas straight line speed. Very similar here. Both have DRS. Alex, is he backing off or not? We'll find out in a moment.
Alex
I'm switching back
this.
to Egg and TB because we've seen moments prior a trade potentially at that hairpin, but the switchback from Willow is successful this time. Willow back through.
I think Willow made a little bit of contact with his teammates, Ray, going onto that straight, and that's what caused the ghosting. As TB gets past Jack Miles and Goatley picks up a pen.
That's our first pen as well. TB, as you said it, back through, but the gap is a little bit different now. Skitter's not gaining as much with that gap as he was prior. 5.1 seconds. If this was like the way it was in the first few laps of the race, that gap would probably be near 7 seconds. Luckily, we do have our second half of this race where the drivers behind will be on the better tires. So we'll see if anything does change there. Willow still on the back of his teammate here, as you said it earlier.
As Cookie's actually losing touch to Cryptic here.
And this could mean Cookie out of DRS. Right now he is. Cryptic needs to back up to put Cookie back in DRS. Don't know if that's what he wants, but here's a detection point out of this corner right here. And I think he just stayed in it.
Yeah, I think he just got it. He might not have, though.
But that is what the braking zone does. Yeah, well, we'll see. Yeah, Cookie did get it. Cookie did it, but he is out of a second right now. He'll be lucky to stay in it because of having that DRS now. Here's Jack with a lot of momentum, just running in the back of the teammate as he stays in line. Luckily, Jack with no damage from that. He played it smart with a lot of good reaction time from the Welshman.
Yeah, Cookie's ERS is now deleted.
I do think, although Egg is a good mate of Jack's, and Jack has his teammate TB here. Hold on, Willow, trade with Cookie, cuts him right off. Door is shut for 7th. Willow's place now. And both Mercedes have lost DRS at the expense of that. We'll see if that remains the same way here after the lap. But I was just going to say, Invade, I know although Jack's teammate, TB, I don't know if he's good friends with Egg or not, and I know Egg's good friends with Jack, but I would have to think here, Egg is probably playing the long game, not only for himself, but mainly to help Jack here. If Jack can get second, and he is able to fit a car in between him and TB, that could mean the championship tonight. And maybe he does get the championship tonight with that being said. But it's just certain things like that Egg will realize and say, even though I'd want to help Jack, that's something that can help my race as well.
As the Mercedes have now connected the train again.
So, although they swapped, they're back in the fight. And a little wiggle there from Cookie. TB, though, a penalty. Running in 2nd place. Our first driver in the points to get a penalty. And now he's put vulnerable to Jack. Jack sweeping through for 2nd. And TB is going to be under a lot of threatening from the cars behind with that penalty, because they know if they can get him easily, they can now challenge Jack for 2nd place. And TB, if this penalty gets applied for him, he's falling all the way behind Cookie right now, down in 8th. That's how tight and jam-packed this train is.
I think Cookie's just got no pace after that spin. His tyres must be shot, and he's got no ERS to even connect back into the train. Willow's now gapping him.
Look at this! Jack racing it out with TB while Egg was trying to throw up the inside. Egg nudging the back of TB, but Jack remains 2nd, TB 3rd, and Egg still 4th. But Egg really wanted to have a go there with TB. He knows the expense of that penalty, and he knows if he stays behind, he's costing himself in some manner. It's very surprising, Invade, to see TB in the penalty club this early.
Definitely so. Maybe he's
Let
just
alone
making
at all.
a few mistakes, probably over pushing the car to try and lower that gap to Cypher.
And Skitter's seeing that and saying, Ferrari, you need a 2nd driver for next season now still? He knows. He knows, but you know who also knows? Cookie. He knows that he's not in DRS range this time, so he's put vulnerable to Alex Norris. The race pace difference with Cookie is extremely massive. NRM KVS, hungry to take 4th place on Egg here, and he could do it, but Egg might get TB in the process, and he does. A lot of slipstream, a lot of straight line speed, and a lot of moving under braking, maybe. Look at the contact between them. They touch. TB off the road. TB lost 2 from that. Egg, KVS ahead. Well, I just really wonder, while Egg was trying to claim the place, was he moving under braking there? He did seem to move across TB. Did that cause a near accident from that?
While this happened, Cookie got overtaken by Alex Norris on those old mediums. Is TB on the outside?
TB. Yes, this is another move he's been trying to pull, and he's been trying to keep places from it. This time on the inside line, TB successful. Alex also gets George, excuse me. A little squabble there. George on the inside, trying to cut back. George now pinching and wheel banging with the Haas. A lot of contact there.
Cryptic mistake.
And Cryptic lost the rear, and Cryptic might cost Willow DRS. Luckily, he doesn't.
I think those mediums are now dying. Cypher's gap is barely going up, and they was just fighting. And Alex is now dropping back as well.
Yeah, you're right. He's not getting close to Cookie any longer. But yeah, as I said it, TB not a driver usually in the penalty box, but he's going to throw it up the inside. Huge lunge. TB gets Egg.
He did not want to wait around for that move, and he got that done straight away.
TB definitely making himself the villain in this scenario. He knows he's being desperate with the scenario that he's in. Championship hopes very slim, but he's also trying to keep 2nd place in that championship, even if he doesn't win it today. And there you go. Big momentum from the Red Bull. Inside line. He made sure to give him room this time, and using the curb to his advantage, trying to pitch the McLaren. He does not keep the 3rd place and spin. That is at the back, while Alex and George get a little tasty here for 9th and 10th. That was one car. I believe that was Alex in that train of cars going off the road. So George and Alex getting very argy-bargy. Invite Gecko to the club.
It's TB. He's trying to pull. He actually pulled that move off on Jack.
That's been his favorite move so far this race. He'll tow the teammate along. I just really wonder, did he get forced off at any point before that penalty, and does he have any warnings after that? Because could he get that penalty removed? I don't think so, but let's just check the warnings from TB. Yeah, he even got a warning after that penalty. Unless that's a collision warning, TB does not look like he's getting that removed. Yes, that was exceeding track limits, so no way that penalty gets removed for TB.
TB's definitely got a lot more pace.
But clearly has extended the track limits in the process. I said it, Invade, we're not going to see a lot of penalties tonight. We've only seen 2 in 11 laps so far, but it'll be costly from who we see it from, and it will be.
Look at that, 8 tenths is now the gap to Jack, and that's obviously going to go down with the slipstream, ERS, and DRS.
Breezing by. Oh my days. Switch to Skither trying to get them too. That's how much the speed difference was right there. And Egg nearly ramming the back of TB. George clears Cookie, and Cookie gives him a little punt there. Cookie and Gecko come together again! That's another time these two have clashed in RPL F1. Cookie spun out from it with the contact from Gecko.
Alex Norris in the pit lane. That is future teammates colliding there, Cookie and Gecko. And TB around the outside again.
That's another move from TB. KVS tries to do the same and copy that move. KVS with a copy pasta, but not yet. Willow powering back around the outside and is the inside line for turn 6. This is great action. Look at this scrap. Contact. KVS is the inside line for this next sequence of corners. He's going to pinch the Merc driver and get the place still. Now, Invade, I know you're not going to love to hear this, but you'll at least be happy they're off the medium tire. Both Haas drivers double stacked.
I mean, the gap was big enough, and I doubt Goatley got majorly affected by it.
However, Goatley is behind Maxwell, who is not pit. And Maxwell spun early on. There was a lot of talk last week with Minico and a few other drivers saying, look, the Academy teammate games here we're playing is a bit bullshit. And he felt He needed to express that. We'll see how they race it out as Jack claims back second place. Yeah, contact! Maxwell off! As
TB got punted into the hairpin as well.
And TB's lost a lot of time to Jack from that, so his chance of making another great overtake around the outside of turn 1 might be impossible this time. And Maxwell is spun again and almost again. Look at the amount of speed TB's able to send into turn 1 right here, regardless of getting the overtake done.
Look at the ERS difference between Jack and TB as well.
Although he's got the penalty, he's really doing a great job with this management. It's just the track limits for TB, which is a real shame. Because if this championship battle was closer like it was at the start of this season, and later on, we'd have a great fight. And we're having a great fight now for second place with both McLarens. Jack maintains the place and maintains having no DRS there down that back straight as of the current moment. So I'm sure because that Jack's saying, look, I want to save a bit of ERS here, TB. If you're going to go by, please don't put me vulnerable to egg.
Definitely so.
This 6-horse
could also
race
be
Invade,
vulnerable to KVS, Willow, and Cryptic behind.
Absolutely. And this is the way it's been. You said egg kept punting TB in the braking zone. It's not the first or second, third, or fourth time they made contact. It's been happening a lot. Luckily, it's just little touches, so I doubt it's sent to the storage room. But as Tier 1 drivers, you never know. And right now, you never know what's going to happen down this back straight, 3 wide momentarily. Egga, the furthest on the inside, getting the place for now. Yellow flags further back. That's Cookie again. But TB just hanging on now for third place once more. And as Cookie spun, he's currently further outside of the points than he already was. We switch back to second because we've seen major moves here at turn 1. TB again. Passing Jack back.
TB just getting that awesome run through turn 1. It's insane.
If he could do what he has done tonight, besides the track limit part, in these big races, he probably would be a championship
Cookie
contender,
out.
no doubt in my mind. Cookie game over. First one out, as you said it. That's a shame. Surely at this point in this race, he has rear wing damage. If not, he's just retiring for no reason because he realizes points are probably over.
Some would say Unk was back for one race.
Not wrong there. Well, as you said it, this 6-horse race is interesting because KVS is close to Egg, and so is Willow and Cryptic, but Egg's not as close to Jack, and Egg's been hitting TB a lot in that braking zone. Just a little
Look
bit.
at the gap. 9
But there you go.
tenths.
Like you said, this is going to be interesting. Done for the day, Cookie sends in. Skitter's
Jack Miles
extending
can't
quite a
even get
bit.
him.
This is going to be interesting to talk about later on. And
he
Jack
will.
repassing TB. Here's the Mercedes of Willow on the inside as well. Willow, with a successful dive bomb, gets through, and TB slotting in behind. If Skitter's going this long, surely you have to
KVS
think about
is
the
in.
potential of softs and KVS. There you go.
He's seen what Cypher's doing on the mediums, and he wants to copy them with the extension.
Look at this! Hold on! Egg trying to go on the inside of TB. Once again, Jack and TB side by side here. It gives Egg the opportunistic chance, but no switchback successful that time. KVS and George go onto the medium compound of tires.
Do you think Cypher might go for the softs?
I really do. I really do, because Alex and Goatley, although they pitted 2-3 laps ago, surely the Ferrari's not that much better on tire wear. Even if it is, it'd be really pointless to start on mediums and go half the race on them if you're not going to go softs.
All this
But we'll
battling
see.
is just making him think about it even more.
Yeah, and I do think this battling, if it continues at the rate it's at, advantage to KVS. Maybe advantage to George even. He could, for all we know, if the undercut is as massive as it has been in races here past, like we saw with what you said, Polo and George, we could see George catch the back of this train by the end of the race.
Movement.
Especially considering the circumstances. Now, TB trying to race it out with Jack down this back straight. TB with the higher speed and better advantage goes through, but Jack is not going to let him with ease. TB reclaims the place for now, and Skitter's in. Skidder jumps to the pit lane. What tire will he go? I'm sure it's the hards at this point because
TBN.
of his chances. And here you go. TB, Egg, Cryptic, Jack, and Willow remain out there. Yeah, Skidder's on hards. But I do think there's one thing he can take to advantage here. He got a 7.8 second gap because of the battling, so he's in a better position than he was probably about 5 laps ago.
But look,
that gap will remain the same.
He comes out behind Gecko. Gecko could hold him up, try to give Egg a bit of a chance to close that gap.
KVS jumping ahead of TB and almost a full second ahead of TB. But you know TB's momentum he's had through the first set of corners. He'll catch back up, and he does. So I think KVS with a massive undercut.
I think TB will be blessed to see KVS in front of him and Egg over a second behind him, because now he's not fighting Jack or Egg. He's actually going to be fighting KVS, who has no involvement in this championship fight and no involvement with both of them.
Speaking of involvement, Skidder getting held up right now by Gecko. Gecko playing the ultimate team game. Gecko parking on the apex here, and Skidder not getting away easily here. Skidder knows here if he stays behind, he'll get the DRS. He's playing mind games with Gecko. The gap's coming down. Gecko slides, and they're backing off to make sure. Look at that pun! I was going to say backing off to make sure. One has DRS while the other doesn't. Advantage now to KVS, surely. That gap has been cut down massively. Gecko weaving. 6 seconds to 2.8 now the margin.
As Willow...
Jack in.
Oh yeah.
Jack
is in. As Willow stays out.
I understand Gecko's mentality, but at the same time, you're more playing a game for Ferrari to play with now at this point rather than Egg, because Egg is not within DRS of TB, and look at him track extending once again. KVS gets the fastest lap now while fighting TB. KVS, no contest with TB, lets the McLaren driver go, but I think for KVS's case, he can play better with TB in front, Invade, because TB is the penalty. KVS just has to hold off Egg and the others coming behind.
Definitely so. And
team
Egg
game
did pick up that pick up a 1 in that lap, so he's on 2.
I mean, he probably extended maybe one more time besides that, but he knows how to get away with some of these advantages. And he's playing it to his own. Fair play for him.
As he's actually almost in that DRS gap.
He'll have to use some ERS this time to do so, and as I said it, overtake button on use. He's just so close. That's probably the worst thing TB could have, but a slip up from KVS is going to make the gap so close here with DRS. I think he might have just got it, but he also could have been barely out of it too. Egg this time did get the DRS. TB under threat from KVS here in the fight. Willow. He's going to be our last one to blink of our drivers yet to pit. Although Skidder's on the hards, remember, he'll have the better tires by the end of the race. But will it be worth it with drivers on the mediums here? We'll see where Willow cycles out, but Egg is in DRS now and closer to the drivers behind. Our drivers in front too. TB got past the slap, and then it went to Egg right there. Look where Jack Miles came out. We've not talked a lot about him. He got jumped quite a bit. He'll have to take the advantage here, Invade, with fresher tires.
Definitely so. He's now behind Cryptic, who's not even, who's just about in that DRS. I mean,
and this could be a massive moment for Cryptic to take advantage too as well. He got the podium in Spa, spin. Goatley has dropped it out of the final corner. Damage to the Haas driver, as we saw it.
As George's undercut didn't really work because he's now back behind
surprised.
Alex.
Yeah, and Alex, as we know, on the hards. Like I said, in a smaller field we have, could be vital points for Haas, could be vital points for anybody with the Mercedes driver, a cookie, out of this race. Aaron Maxwell G, our third driver to pick up a track limit penalty. Went out of bounds too many times as we know it. So, with 18 laps in, let's just remind you, RPL Formula 1 on Twitch and YouTube to see our action on our social media. Right now, we got some action happening for third place. Egg on the move, inside line. He'll try to claim back a podium place, and right now, it's his, but KVS outpowers him.
But Egg put him on an awkward line.
KVS clipped the curb, and that's what that did to him. Allowed him to go out wide and lose the place. Egg is third once again in this race.
Very smart play from Egg there. Placing KVS on an awkward line just so he can take advantage of him.
Jack 4 seconds behind TB as it stands right now. With this current situation, the championship would go to next week in what I believe would be Qatar. No, Vegas. We already ran Qatar, didn't we?
No, we haven't ran Qatar.
There we go. We won't run Qatar this season. That's right. Forgot about that. Thought we would have. My apologies. Vegas, Brazil, and Abu Dhabi. We have to finish the season. Egg's kind of not really in DRS of TB any longer. 8/10's back. He's really trying to get in DRS range, but is going to have to really push here to do so. Almost got stuck on the curb there, exiting turn 10. 2.3 seconds TB's adrift from Skither. He's gaining.
Cypher's really hoping those tires fire up as soon as possible.
This is going to be huge right now. Eggles 07, no DRS online. Does NRM KVS mount an attack back there? No, Egg's on hot lap just to prevent that. George, down the back straight, is racing with Alex Norris. And after their battles, he's probably saying, see you later, son. It's been a nice go at this, but 8th place is mine once again.
Yes, TB must have made a mistake because look at the gap now. It's half a second again.
Main straight, Egg has DRS active once more. And as you said, it was Skither on those hard tires. He'll just be managing things. But if you look at where that gap really is, it's 2.8 right now to Egg. And that's what's going to matter. But it's 2.2 seconds with the DRS train all the way to where he is at. So I think Skither's just really playing just a nice little management game. And as we know it, this DRS train, if you're in a DRS train and you don't have too bad in comparison with these tires, you're going to pull more of a gap. And right now, Jack Miles has only cut the gap down maybe a tenth or two compared to last time by.
Maybe Cypher's banking on Egg to get closer to TB and have that battling like they did in the first stint again, as we know Egg will be aggressive with TB, as shown in that first stint.
But as we also know it, Invade too, KVS in this fight, surely at this rate, he's not only thinking about a podium, but he's also thinking about the team game here.
Definitely.
If KVS is in second place, I don't see... I was going to say, if KVS is in second place, even if it's on track, I don't see Skither giving up a win for him. Similar to Cryptic giving up second place here in this race in Season 8 to TB. Egg now, another lunge, down the inside! They made contact this time, a lot more than the previous times. Egg, with a ballsy move, and might try one like he did on KVS here, exiting the final corner. TB didn't fall for those tricks. Egg now behind, and might try to do TB with a little taste of his own medicine at turn 1. Around the outside, can Egg pull this off? TB is still there, a little contact, and TB now shuts the door.
A little nudge again.
It's not the first
TB
time, not the last time either. But this fighting, you would think would catch Jack and Willow up. Jack is 2.1 seconds back on Cryptic, and Titan measuring the gap with TB and them. 3.2, now make it 3.0. So he's catching the train, but he's not catching Cryptic. Well, he is now.
That was very, very hard racing with Egg. I think
Egg and George is probably the lineup we have for next season, and also just this season as well in terms of aggressive drivers. Sometimes I'd say they're not in the limit, but 90% of the time they are, and they're very much within the rules most times as we say it, and really go by the rule book, don't they?
Definitely so, and they play it to their advantage, and fair play to them, because it's a strong lineup.
Willow in the slipstream of Jack. I don't see any move happening here until later on. Willow goes. Egg goes. Egg goes by. Egg gets second place and then shuts the door. There you go. Jack Miles might catch back up from that accordion effect there down at the hairpin. 1.6 seconds back Willow is from the train where Jack Miles is within. And I say Jack Miles so importantly because Jack Miles in this championship race to win it tonight. He doesn't have to, but he could. And now TB, once again, a dose of outside line, a dose of moves here at turn 1 and 2. Nothing made this time. But again, he's just using all the curbs, using all the track limits. It's what got him the penalty. He's got to be very careful doing this again.
As we're going to look at warnings, I don't think TB's going to... Yeah, TB's not even picked up another one after, so he's not a threat for another, but Egg is on that too. And KVS behind is on the one with... I think it's the same with Cryptic. No, Cryptic's on 2.
And interestingly enough, Alex Norris still remaining in DRS of George, who didn't really... Oh, spin. That's the Haas. That's Goatley. I was just going to say, Alex Norris still within George's range here, even after their fight. And TB tried to throw it up the inside, but nothing made there. And while Goatley spun, no DRS for Skither. But in this DRS train up in front, Willow and Jack have caught up. Here is TB, vulnerable, big time. KVS through, and KVS might try to get 2 and 1. TB back up the outside now here at the hairpin, and TB gets squeezed, and he'll have the inside line, similar to how he did earlier. Overtake button on use, very aggressive style from TB, almost contact, but KVS maintains 3rd place, and this is just costing them time to try and fight Egg. You know they'll try to get it toward turn 1, but nothing being made there. KVS staying in 3rd, but TB trying to go back through the inside for turn 3 now. And he does it again.
That's vintage TB. It's Invade.
Oh! Little contact. Gave the squeeze to KVS. Shut the door there. And there's KVS weaving and bobbing to the inside now. Locks up the brakes though. Big send further behind. Willow on his academy teammate. They both go off.
Contact.
Jack Miles through for 5th. This is going to be a spectacle late on for 2nd place and maybe even 3rd. But Willow's losing a lot of time. And Cryptic, not the first collision with a Mercedes driver tonight.
Hopefully it is the last one for him though.
4.7 seconds. Skither is really doing all he can to stretch that gap out even further. With all the fighting, you'd think it maybe even further than that. But now, for 3rd place,
locked.
Everyone's staying put, but I think TB went a little wide there. You said KVS having a look right there. Wouldn't be surprised if he does so again. An Egg having rejoined this race from off the road again. TB on the inside. He found space this time on Egg, and he's going to pinch Egg all the way to the curb. Egg pinches back. Contact made. Goalie with another penalty while that was happening, and both drivers got loosey-goosey. Egg maintained 2nd place. Unbelievable action and good close quarter racing, which we'll go to in turn 6 once again. Another switchback. A lot of drivers who question TB's racecraft said he does not like to do the switchbacks. I've never seen you do one, but here's another one. Contact. Side by side, Egg gets pinched there and almost has to go off the road. He concedes 2nd place. Massive move from TB. Goldie spins. Look at the accordion style effect here at the DRS detection point. 6.6 seconds. Skither keeps these guys at bay. This is amazing stuff as Willow on the inside there gets Cryptic.
Oh god, TB's gonna get swarmed here. Four
abreast! 4 abreast! TB is such a sitting duck. He's now down to 5th. As KVS up the inside of Jack now. And right now, as things stand, Jack Miles is going to be winning the championship if things just stay the way they're at. Skither, 4 to go. TB's using all the battery. Down to turn 1. Around the outside of KVS this time. He's going to try to pull off another one of these fantastic moves. And it's all done, and that throttle application, as you saw it too. A big slide this time as well. They use some battery to protect the place now. But as we know it, he'll be dropping 3 wide, down to turn 6. Ricardo style, KVS sends one of TB's around. No! And the slim chance of championship hopes he had left come dashing down once again. The aggression was pushing and pushing and pushing, and it pushed TB to spin around from contact. Surely there was contact. Invade, I'm going to take you out of commentator mode for a moment. Minako mentioned Egg could get pens for abusing track limits. Does this sound familiar to you?
Yeah, it sounds very familiar.
It's almost like you did that in Portugal. Here we go, Jack Miles getting dicey and takes second place back in this race. You gotta love a Jack Miles, Sen. You gotta love this battle for second place still continuing on regardless of TB's spin. Skither, 3 laps remaining for him. And what a race he's had as well. He's actually gonna get the most wins in the season if he continues to win at the rate he's had. In the last few races, he has won. If he stays at it today, he would have won 3 of the last 5 races. I mean, that's just impressive form. Someone who's not on impressive form is Goatley. Around again. Not doing some goated things right here.
Goatley's basically a fidget spinner with the amount of times he's spinning.
Yeah, he'll hate to hear that one back. Exo would love to hear it, though. Friendly banter between them two. Gotta love it, though. Yeah, I mean, it has to be said. This battle for second place, it's gonna continue on. We're gonna keep our eye on it in a moment, though, when it comes to the final lap.
And Goatley finally hangs up the gloves.
Yep. Retirement for him. But yeah, Luke Range, I asked him midweek about Jack. He said, put it like this. Jack didn't know how to use the clutch on this on a start on 2020. And in terms of what I'll call it the elite group of RPL with drivers like Owen, George, and Luke, the main guys who founded this league as Egg gets past Jack again, they would say with Jack Miles Invade, in terms of improvements from the start of, I guess, league racing careers, Jack Miles has had the biggest improvement. And right now he's about to put himself on the biggest stage here with the circumstances we're at right now. 2 to go in China.
Definitely so. I remember racing Jack back on the 2020 game. Being similar pace to him, now he would absolutely whitewash me.
Yeah, it's amazing to see what he has done through the time here. And you know what? It would be quite fitting to see him win this weekend. I'll put myself in the scenario too. I used to actually be the Mercedes team principal. And yesterday I made my Tier 2 debut, Invade. And I don't know if I told you this, but I was supposed to make it a while ago. Back on F1 2021, when Jack was the Mercedes team principal. So I think it's quite fitting. Not only that, but also this circuit, Season 4 F1 China, his debut. And looking to do so 8 seasons later.
They're all just recharging.
I'm sure, yeah, at this point, yeah. But I'm sure of a few things here. There's a lot of team principals always scared to put drivers who thrive in backmarker cars in top cars. Because you have drivers like myself and others in different tiers or all tiers who just don't do the same in those top cars. But this is why you do so and take a chance on Jack Miles. Right now, Jack Miles is taking a chance to get second place back in this race. He brazes by Egg. He'll claim that place with ease. And we look to Skither right now, claiming the final lap.
This has just been a dominant.
As Faded would say, white flag in the air presented by Lenovo. Yeah, it really has. You would think that strategy would not pay off as much as it has with the drop-off in tires, but it just has not gone that way for Skither. Even with the fighting. Even without the fighting, I don't think it would.
He's just played it very smartly. He broke away when he needed to, didn't get a bad start, and he just dominance, didn't look back.
Look at this. We're going to ride on board with Willow. And he could get something for the whole thing with Cryptic, too. Just gotta mention that. Big slide! Ooh, yowie wowie!
He also had that thing with TV as well, so he could be looked at in the stewards. So we're looking at them. We're mainly looking at the three in front, but obviously don't count him out if he doesn't get penalised.
One DRS race to look at here. 8th place. I'm sure George will find a way to give it up soon here with Alex. All right, our final lap and our final sector. We're looking at this battle. What's gonna happen? Down the straight one more time, down the back straight. We switch to Skither quickly, who will claim his 29th F1 win and his 3rd of the season. What a dominant performance by Skither. He'll claim the Chinese Grand Prix. We look at the fight for 2nd place in this race. Jack Miles, from being a nobody, down in F3, down in Tier 2, and in backmarkers cars, to the top stage and the highest stage he's ever been on, to now the RPL champion. Jack Miles, league owner of RPL, wins the RPL championship for the first time. A dominating season, a near perfect season. Contact! Lots of it! George and Alex, very argy-bargy. Alex, while being ghosted, claims 8th. Jack Miles, a near perfect season. Write it in the history books. Taking lessons from good friend Luke Grange and former teammate Leo Lund. At this point, round 17, he has only been off the podium in 2 of the 17 races, and he didn't even start one of those. Egg 3rd, KVS 4th, Willow 5th, Cryptic 6th, TB down in 7th, a shame for him. Alex 8th, George 9th, and Gecko claims our last point spot. But congratulations to our new champion of Tier 1, Jack Miles.
Fair
Shame
play
for
to
Red Fire.
Jack.
Yeah. Even if there are pens, it is not going to matter.
Very unfortunate for TV, obviously finishing 7th. Deserves so much more from that race.
No safety cars today, no VSCs. Max are running out of fuel. I really want to try to give a driver today different to Skither, but I don't think you can. Very dominant performance. Usually in a league where you see DRS trains non-stop, or a game where you see DRS trains non-stop, I'm very surprised that Skither was able to break away the way he did. Celebrating with the champagne and on the top step of the podium. Jack Miles is your champion.
The only other person you can give a shout for driver of the day is Alex Norris, just because 8th and a half, beating George.
And Skither celebrates. Jack Miles, 2nd place man on the podium, celebrates as well. Here are your final results. Egg from 7th, not bad there. Fastest lap 2. Willow 8th from the grid. 5th place. Another top 5 for Willow. And still no podium. That could change in the stewards room. Gecko points for VCarb. They needed that. Haas needed some points in the race with Williams, I believe, as well. 8th place is not bad there. I'm sure George will be a little upset on the way that ended because he lost out when he probably had the advantage at the end. We lost Cookie and Goatley, the only 2 to lose from this race. 2 of the 3 Americans DNF'd as well. Skither won the race. His 29th win all time. And Ferrari's 40th win in Tier 1. Congrats to Skither for that.
Cute.
Jack Miles, 2nd place man, is your champion. Just, it's really, really crazy what you could see from a driver who is a nobody back then. You put him in backmarker cars to start off with. Wins the championships in F3, Tier 2, when it was F1.5 as well. Then he goes up to Tier 1 and starts doing things there. He said to Luke in Season 5 Brazil, give me a chance in Red Bull, please. He would have won his first race there. He didn't. He got it taken away in the stewards room. Jack Miles had 14 podiums before that first career win in Season 8 Abu Dhabi. And then Jack Miles, now the champion.
Yeah, just consistent consistent all the way through. Kept it clean, and he got his reward for the seasons of waits, the years of waits. He's finally got it.
Yeah. I have to ask Titan what he's thinking, because he's the McLaren slash Alpine co-TP, and also has watched Jack for all these years. I mean, it was a shame not to have him here today, but with that being said, I do want to see if Titan has any thoughts in our Twitch chat, or in general, because although he's not here, we were going to get Jack in here, but he has declined the championship interview, which we usually give to people. Jack has declined that. But yeah, Invade, it must be said, the highest stage, and he has thrived in it. He's won it. You know, what can you say?
Just check commentators chat.
I think I did see that. I got another ping though. Jack says he's toilet bound. Quote me, I wanted it more. Well, I think he did prove that this season, it's safe to say.
Definitely.
He's got 15 points finishes in a row, by the way. That's our current active record. Red Bull can continue another race in the points. 87 now in a row. And we still have a lot of drivers who've had a lot of streaks still to not get or not have. But just because of Jack winning the championship now, for all we know, based on what we heard before, we could be seeing JTK and a McLaren to end the season at some point. I would like to see that. We've not had a first-time podium sitter this season, but we have had a first-time winner. Ed gets another podium. Jack gets another podium. Jack's 49th all-time. But more impressively, Invade, it's his 15th of the season. And if he continues at the rate he's at, he's got 12 consecutive podiums now. That's third in the all-time list of consecutive podiums. But of any driver with the most podiums in a season, he's obviously not going to get the most ever in a single season. But he's got the most in terms of the percentage, though. So, following in the footsteps of former teammates and good friend Luke Grange and also Leo Lund, Jack Miles, well deserved as always.
Definitely making himself go up those stats, making himself a top driver for the history books.
And also, next week, he could be getting his 50th podium. Remember, he started this season only having 34 to his name.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Just
He also
shows
started this season only having
consistency.
like 5 or 6 wins. He's on 11.
Fair play. Can guarantee nobody had Jack winning the title on their bingo cards.
Especially when the season started. Because Leo Lund started in the Aston. Jack finished runner-up to Leo in Bahrain. TB finished runner-up in Saudi. And if you look at how the season started, in McLaren, they weren't bad, but they just were not winning races until our 2/4 point of the season. And when Leo switched to Williams, that championship became more winnable for Jack. Florian was in the mix. TB was having a better chance. But yeah, Jack Miles, your champion. I don't know if we could really say much else about Jack besides probably getting called for sucking up to him. But no, in all honesty, it is very nice to see.
Yeah, definitely. Very
It goes
happy.
to show with what he has done with his path, Invade. I'm not going to try to sound delusional by this, but it is true. It does prove in the future, if drivers like Shorts, Alex Norris, if they get better, they are not far away from doing what Jack did if they get the right opportunity. And do the right things as well. Jack Miles, like we said, F3 champion, I'm pretty sure. Tier 2 champion, F2 champion, now the F1 champion. And remember, he started his RPL career in backmarker cars. He was basically a nobody. I mean, in terms of on track. But yeah, Jack Miles, your champion. And we still have more championships to be clinched, Invade. I cannot wait for these upcoming races. Tier 3 next week. We are at Las Vegas. Oh yeah, rock and roll. Also, let's go gambling. Woohoo.
Just to interrupt quickly, contracts. TB, all contracts terminated mutually.
So that's going to be JTK and the McLaren, I'm guessing. For next week, maybe. Or rest of the season. Yeah, Vegas in Tier 3. You got a championship you could try to win there. Got to gain on Miley. Marley. Tier 2 is Imola. They are going to have to try to keep it in bounds. Night Owl could win the title there next week. Constructors up for grabs in Tier 1 and Tier 2. Or sorry, Tier 2 and Tier 3. And F1 is in Vegas. But with this result tonight, Ferrari are now second in the Constructors' Championship. And Invade, before we send it off, I want to talk to you about that. Because it's your team principal. Ferrari's comeback this second half of the season has been immense. It's been incredible. They were fifth. They were in no man's land the first half of the season. Clearly, you now got two drivers who want to race every week, who are stable, and finish the races when needed. Seems like the bad luck that it was in the first season has kind of turned things around and happening to the other teams in the second half rather than yours. And it was not even a thought second place when your TP role was at risk.
L cookery by it was just a massive cookery from Cypher and KVS. That's all it is. Bringing Cypher in at the mid-season point for Baku, and the season completely changed around after we got a bit more stability with our Ferrari team.
It's crazy. And it's good to see. So we have two clips submitted right now. Alex Norris punt to pass and egg half spin. So we'll keep an eye out on that and see if there's any position changes in the midweek and whatnot. But until next time, Tier 3 Vegas this Thursday and F1 in Vegas for our next race. And Vegas last season, although Leo Lund won, the race for second place was hectic. I bet to see the same once again, and we'll have to find out in just a week time. And also, maybe we'll find out in 5 days time with Tier 3 on Thursday. We'll just have to see. Either way, Invade, any final thoughts, any concluding thoughts to end off tonight?
Just congratulations to Cypher for winning, and Jack on the championship.
Yeah, fair play. Jack Miles, congrats, my friend. Well deserved. He's really come through it, you know, it must be said, in terms of where he was at. And oh, by the way, we spoke about the backmarker cars. He's the last podium finisher for Sauber and Williams. Just to put that in a perspective for Tier 1. Anyways, folks, next week, we said it. We're in Vegas, Tier 3 and Tier 1. We'll see you next time. Ryan Searles, RSF1 Invade. We're both signing off for the night. Have a good one. And until next time, folks, good night and goodbye.